Hey everybody, welcome to another episode of TFG Radio. You have myself, Adam, and tonight we have the full crew. We have Danny,
Hey.
John.
Yeah, hi.
Yeah, they need to hear you, John, because we do still do the
Yeah,
podcast.
yeah, hi.
And Tom.
Hello.
And none of us are playing Helldivers right now, so we have to do this show.
Yeah, I actually played last night.
I haven't played in like a week, I think.
Yeah, it's been a minute since you played. I'm intentionally taking a tiny break right now, but I am very excited for the new patch they just announced.
I played over the weekend.
I've been playing Fallout 76 with the new expansion, so exploring the Shenandoah Valley, which is probably the only time I'll ever do it, since I probably won't go there in real life.
What? Preposterous.
You just want to say Shannon. You just want to say Shenandoah.
Shenandoah, yeah, because I can say it. So I'm back from LSO. It was, if you followed the news in general, you know, getting there was
Fun.
an adventure all in itself. I did get to spend the night at LAX, which is not something I'd recommend. But I still got to go to. I still made it in time. I still got there Friday afternoon instead of getting there on Friday morning. Coming back was fine. Although they didn't scan the tickets. Coming back, they just checked the ticket, checked the phone, or if you had a paper ticket, they just marked it off with the manifest. If you were going to be, if you were on the plane or not. So,
Wow.
Interesting.
yeah, it was
Cool.
like I said, it was an eventful night / morning. Luckily on Monday when I came back, it wasn't too bad. So,
Were you flying Delta?
no, it was Spirit. And then
But
Delta's
apparently,
still not
even
working
Spirit
right.
updates their Windows.
yeah, so now you know they update their software. The
The
key,
only one that doesn't is apparently Southwest running on a Commodore 64.
yeah, basically. So
I prefer the Windows 3.1 meme personally, but
yeah,
I'll
they're
take
probably
Commodore
using like
64.
98 or something, or 95, which is why it never updated. So
Windows ME.
Oh, don't even say that.
I wonder if
I
anybody-
ran ME for a little bit. It was a big mistake.
Yeah, I ran it for like a hot minute, and then
big
updated as
mistake.
soon as the update was available.
Yeah.
Emmy is the operating system that taught me that operating systems can be a problem.
Yeah. I think that was for a lot of people.
Yeah. So we had LSO. There were a few things we changed for LSO because this was the first Pariah Nexus event for us, for FLG and for GW, because Tacoma was the same weekend. Overall, one thing that became apparent was the lack of, and we've talked about this before on the show, is the lack of product and how it affected the tournament. I mean, it didn't affect it in terms of like the pairings or anything like that, but just
Which products could you possibly
in this
name?
particular instance, it's the Pariah Nexus mission box.
Oh yeah, the cards.
Oh, you
Those
mean
are pretty helpful. I hear.
the products required to actually play the game? You mean that the company that makes the game did not actually produce enough of the things that are required for you to play the game?
Correct. Which is surprising. Well, not surprising,
Yeah,
but it was
because hey, you're required to have these things to play the game. Well, can I buy them? No.
No.
But you're the company that makes the game, and I'm at your event. Can I buy them from the store at your event? No. Oh, okay, cool.
I want someone listening to this to take one of those congressional hearings where someone's getting blasted by a senator and just blue screen John being really angry at GW and then just have that be the meme. Like, I know that exists out there. If someone does that, I will name you an heir of my Scottish holdings.
I just don't get it. I don't get it.
yeah. And well, the most important part that was missing was the little pamphlet, like the one that came with the Leviathan, that has like extra rolls and the extra orders, things like that. So that there are times people were borrowing from other tables whenever there's a question about the mission or the rules, because if you use the tabletop battles app, it has the missions but not the actual wording in the mission, so you have to either go to other sources, I'll say, to try to get the proper information.
Gonna be a yikes for me, dog.
So it was it was something. It wasn't too bad, but it was still annoying. That was a big deal. This year we did institute a higher standard for painting.
Good.
So
Good.
what we did was this year it was just myself and Jorge. So 2 people to do a 220 person event.
It's only 110 people each. That's not bad.
Yeah. What? You guys could do it. I understand.
I mean, we did it. It's not a question of whether we can do it or not. I think we did a pretty good job considering, but there were times I was like, well, we need a third next time at minimum, because especially that first round on day 1, because we were getting multiple messages at once, and but we were able to get to it fairly quickly. Luckily, I gave Jorge access to the program that I use. I basically use Google Voice. That's really all it is. And because he also had access to it, it was easier for him and I to coordinate going to tables. So
That's fair.
in case I had to go, if I was tied up with somebody else or out of the room or doing something else, because in addition to judging, I also had to do the branch competition, because it's military appreciation. It's the military appreciation event for Frontline. So what they do every year, they have a competition between the branches, and I had to do the math for it, and it was a learning experience, and it just deepened my hatred for Google Sheets.
That is
Totally fair.
entirely
Not Excel, but Google Sheets.
Yeah.
That's fair.
So
I hate all of it, so it's fine.
But once I was able to figure out the formulas and everything, then it was kind of smooth sailing on that end. But I still had to export the standard.
You need the big mouse pad that has all the formulas.
No,
They sell a mouse pad that has all the formulas.
The formulas were already in there. I just had to make sure they went to the correct columns and pages.
Oh yeah, that's a pain in the butt.
Yeah, after round 1, it was a pain in the ass to try to figure it out. I was getting upset.
Yeah.
But I was able to figure it out.
I use it extensively when I have to do right now when I'm running summer camp for the budget.
Yeah.
And to make sure enrollment and all this stuff talks across sheets is a pain in the ass. The one wrong thing, all of a sudden, all this stuff is broken references on the other page, and I'm like, oh, how do I suddenly have negative $83,000? And I'm like, oh, wait a minute, I don't. There's one mistake.
Yeah.
Like, what do you mean #REF exclamation point? What is this?
I thought you were going to say, oh, yes, my gamblings.
That works too. That's plausible.
Parlay didn't play off. Oh, fuck.
No. There's so many layers of redundancy and stuff in between me and the money, which is the way it should be, really.
Yeah.
But the scary thing, though, John, is that I think you're the only one that understands that and therefore could break it.
Oh, no. We have, no. The school has an accountant, and, they handle all the stuff, all the checks that need to be written, everything. No. I could not. In any way.
All I'm hearing is that he has thought a lot about this.
No. I haven't.
Yeah.
The problem is there have been schools that have had the problem, which is why these redundancies and stuff are in place.
Mm-hmm.
Because things have happened at other places.
Right. Yeah.
Not this place, though. This place is fine.
Yeah.
Please don't wonder why we have a what's that website? What's that up? The gambling one?
PokerStars?
Not PokerStars.
Not PokerStars.
DraftKings.
DraftKings,
yeah.
Why does the school email account attached to a DraftKings?
Look, if camp ever suddenly increases 500%,
yeah,
you'll know I figured out how to get the money for myself.
So,
guys, I'm leaving the show, and also I'm in Belize. So,
right. Why is camp so much money now? And why does John no longer live in the country?
What do you mean non-extradition?
So we got the round started, and what we did this time, because we're kind of upping the painting requirement. I had Jorge go around and look at all the tables and do a quick look, not really a deep dive into some of the armors. Just do a quick look and see if anything sticks out that doesn't look painted. And then he just flagged me with a couple that are like he thought was questionable, and then I would go look and make a final decision. Most of them were like borderline okay. There were two that stood out. One was a Tyranid's army, and they did the they had basing.
Tyranids.
They had basing, but it was black, and then the skin was like a dark purple, and then another black, and then some of the chitin was like bone color, but not enough of it.
Danny, did you play at LSO?
Hey, my Tyranid army is very clearly tabletop standard. Thank you.
So I
That's
talked
true.
to I
It is,
talked to
clearly.
that I talked to that guy, and then he gave him some pointers as to what he needed to do to bring it up to at least that the standard we're looking for. Day one, so I didn't give him the 10 points per round. Then after day one, he came back and he put a little more paint on it. So because he put some effort into it, I let him get the paint requirement. But I did tell him that he needs to like paint the bases so you can see it, because you can barely tell that there was anything on it because it was still primered black, even though there was like cork and other stuff on it. And bring out the weapons more, because some of the weapons were still the like purple, just like the rest of the carapace and some other stuff. Things like that, and some highlights.
Dry brush on that bad boy.
Basically. So that was the first one. That one was fun, actually. The second one was probably the most egregious one, because it was a Custodes army, and it was literally black primer, painted shoulder pad, and he painted the blade on the spear. Not even the whole weapon.
Oh, just the spear.
Just the blade.
spear.
Just the blade
blade.
part of the spear.
Amazing.
Damn, that's egregious.
So I had to tell him, and then he acted like why? I'm like, come on, guy, because we're raising the standard. That's why. That's basically what I told him.
Right.
And
Did you
I
tell
don't
him
know.
that Henry Cavill called and was incredibly disappointed in him.
I don't know. I don't know. I did tell
Superman frowns upon thee.
I don't know if he took the 10 points off, because once I told him, I didn't really check. I probably should have, but I wasn't going to be that strict.
Look, I sent Geralt a picture of your army, and he responded back with,
Yeah,
But,
no, with
and I don't
Yeah.
know. I'd have to double check to see if he played on day 2. So I don't know. So those were the only two. Everything else was kind of
you
like,
shamed a man into quitting?
I don't know if I did or not. Yeah, he could have played the whole weekend. I don't know. Now I want to find out, but I forgot who it was. So.
You should go with, you shamed a man into quitting.
Sure.
yeah.
Yeah.
You thought John was trying to shame you, and he was trying to make you sure you got that accolade.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Shamed a
Trying to
man
give you
into
your flowers.
So that was the.
I once beat a man into quitting 40K. You can shame a man into quitting.
So we did the paint judging early in that day. Because it was only Saturday, Sunday, so we had the paint judging and the showcase on Saturday, and then we had the military meetup essentially on Saturday night. It was at I can't remember the name of the venue right now, but the hotel was connected to the convention center, so that worked out well in terms of getting there. It was really nice. Across the street was like a shop, like an outdoor shopping center, essentially. So for when we go back for Champions Cup, there's plenty of places to eat. I do not suggest the PF
Very
Chang's
nice.
though.
No.
Oh, no.
Well, so they have I think a Cheesecake Factory, PF Chang's, a bunch of chain restaurants, but also like I should have gone to the Indian one, the Indian restaurant. So It's a big mistake. So, because I hadn't been to a PF Chang's in literally 20 years. The last one I went to was the one at the Beverly Center, and I think it's still there.
The one at the Paseo here in Pasadena is gone.
Yeah. Well, after going to this one, it reminded me why I didn't go for. I didn't look for a PF Chang's in like 20 years. It wasn't very good.
That's fair.
I asked for the biggest thing was I asked for fried dumplings.
Right.
And they gave them to me, and I'm like, oh. And I took a bite of one or two of them, and I'm like, oh. And then when the waiter asked me, I'm like, well, it looks like you guys give me the steamed dumplings instead of the fried. And then he looks at it and goes, no, they're fried. You can tell on the bottom there's a slight crispiness on the bottom of the dumpling. I'm just like, so I stopped eating it. I'm assuming it was undercooked.
Yeah.
So I'm like,
yeah.
Oh man, that was just the appetizer. So another 20 years, and maybe I'll try. When my memory goes by that time, I'll probably try PF Chang's again. So and then I just ate at the hotel afterwards. So day one was pretty chill. Nothing too bad. Day two, we had a few issues. Day two, we started seeing players like rage quit.
What?
Yeah, we had one player quit because of a ruling that he was made aware of that I had made before the event.
How dare you enforce this ruling I was aware of, sir?
Well, I didn't enforce it. His opponent did, so he just rage quit.
Yeah.
And we talked to him afterwards, and he calmed down, and he came back to play. It wasn't that big of a deal. It was just so. But I ended up carding him, and I ended up carding the person he played against. Because,
what?
Well, he was very antagonistic to the player that rage quit. So I think there may have been a bit of prodding there. So there is a double yellow. It didn't really matter in the a larger scheme of things, but it was just something like, come on, guy, don't be a dick.
Right.
That type of thing. Both of them. But it was fine. It was nothing. And in all honesty, the ruling that so the way I do it is I make the rulings. I try to keep up to date or correct it if I can. But once lists are revealed, I don't change the ruling even if I know it's wrong.
Right.
Because people may have made a list based on the ruling that I had made, and I didn't want to, especially if they're traveling to an event. So
yeah, that's a good way to do it.
So I just changed. Like, there's a couple ones that I changed like recently after the event, but I wasn't going to change it during or right before. So speaking of right before, about a week before the event. For Tacoma, GW clarified the pivot ruling and mentioned that teals are free to use this for their events. So I did, because it was before the rules cut off for us. It didn't really matter too much, and from what I can tell, it came up a couple times, the new pivot rule, where we had questions about it. But for the most part, I don't even think the pivot rule in general really mattered the way people are scared about it, because we figured the Dark Eldar Raiders only gave you about a 2.25 or 2.5 inch extra movement. But so if you pay for the movement, you're only getting like an extra quarter or extra half inch. As far as I know, nobody brought a Tantalus, so that wasn't an issue. John, I'd be happy to know someone brought the Porphyron.
Yay!
I think he went 4-2.
All right.
Hey, all right.
Nice.
So mainly because probably nobody knew what to do with it, do about it once they saw it, since nobody brings it. So day one was fine. It was day two with everyone getting sweaty, trying to go undefeated. After one game, we did have an issue with a player that we had to red card and deduct points from in the following game. So what ends up happening if it's brought to my attention where someone played a rule wrong or supposedly cheated, depends on who it is usually. I'll usually give the yellow and then deduct points, but I will deduct points for the next game, not for the current game. And depending on the situation and the severity, and if they had any priors, that will determine how many points I deduct. So we did that. That particular player, I think he won round 5, and then lost in round 6. So it didn't become an issue overall. But people were concerned about the player winning the event with a yellow card. But we're currently, if you get a yellow, you're only precluded from winning Paragon, because that has to do with sportsmanship.
Right.
So you can still win overall, and even best painted if you get a yellow. So if you get a red, obviously you're not going to win, because you're going to at minimum get a game DQ, if not an event DQ. So I mean, people have suggested maybe not allowing people to win awards if they get a yellow at all. I mean, that's something to discuss, but I don't know. I'm kind of on the fence on it, so I don't know yet. But other than that, we still had 5 undefeateds going into the last round. I believe it was Chaos Space Marines that won the event in first place with Derek Apshe, and he played Chaos Cult, which is the one that they get the extra dark packs. They have the dark pack twice basically, if they want the extra bonus stuff, and makes Traitor Guardsmen battle line. So a lot of cultists, a lot of Traitor Guardsmen. I believe he had a Curse Cultist also, because they're really good in combat. And I believe that was his list in first. Second place was Clifton Russell with Orcs, and I don't remember if it was Bully Boys Orcs or no. I think it was the old Index Orcs attachment. And then third place was Tyranids, also going 6-0.
Hey,
Where I forget which one it was, but the player had his nids were literally chrome.
Oh, nice!
It's like chrome mechanical nids with LEDs.
Oh wow! All right,
it was very bright and shiny.
Nice.
So
did someone witness him? Because I would witness that.
so they all went 3-0. It came down to opponent game win percentage, and I think I'd have to double check on the standings, but I think second and third may have come down to battle points, because I think they may have had the same opponent game win percentage. So other issues, Jorge and I were running around all weekend, answering questions and helping people out. So, and a question that came up a lot was whether you can charge through units, which was odd because it never came up at any other event since the start of 10th edition. It only came up here at LSO.
Leave it to Texas.
I'm wondering, so I'm wondering if it's a regional thing. Or
what's the argument?
Well, they were asking. They were thinking that it's weird. I get why they would think that, because nothing in the charge phase says you can walk through your own units. However, in the movement section, there's a paragraph that says when a unit moves. Mm-hmm. Not when it makes a normal move. It doesn't specify normal, charge, fallback, whatever. It just says when a movement moves, it can move through their own.
Any
moves.
move.
So most TOs read that as any move, not just a normal move in the movement.
Did you move the model? Yes. Okay.
The issue people are having is that the fact that it's in the movement phase section, so they think it only applies to that section.
Is it like in a box where it's like one of those rule call outs, like, hey, just as a thought, like,
No,
or is
it's a like a separate paragraph in the movement phase section.
that's why I would argue it could maybe be considered just for part of the movement phase, because it's part of the paragraphs within that section versus like those sidebar callouts, which can apply to other things or other
Yeah,
situations.
so I'm looking at it right now, and it says, start a movement phase, blah blah blah. Pick a unit. After you have finished moving that unit, select another unit, blah blah blah. Once you have moved all your units, progress to the reinforcement step of your movement phase. So that part talks about the movement phase, and even tells you when it ends. Right. Next paragraph. Then next paragraph says each time you move a unit, you can move any of its models. Then it goes into moving through models, things like that. So that's where the difference is. So the first part talks about the movement phase, even talks about when it ends, and then the next paragraph right after talks about moving a unit. It just says when you move a unit, not like when you move a unit in this phase or when you move a unit in the movement phase. So most TOs, this is why most TOs allow movement through their own units. So bit of confusion.
I think you got it right. As somebody who wants to be able to charge through my own units, I agree with you.
Well, you can't charge through vehicles. Sorry, John.
What?
I think you have a strat as a Chaos Knight.
Yeah, no, I know.
You'd have to use that strat.
Yeah, that's fine.
It was a big and the other thing is we had about 220 some odd players to start the event, and we ended with I think it was 160, like in the 160s. It was 224 to start, which makes LSO the second largest event after Cherokee. So it's already gone past ACO. So we had 224 to start, and then at the end of the event, we were at it looks like I think it was 167. Sorry, 197. So we only had like a 27 player drop over the course of the weekend. Which was, I thought, was very, very telling, because that means almost just about everybody stayed. At the end of day one, going into day two, we only had like 7 drops.
Oh wow!
Yeah,
that's pretty good.
And then at the end of the day, we were down to 197. So all of them stuck it out. I mean, and like I said, it was fine. Joe, War Games Live was there to stream the event. Always have fun with Joe. Kicker was there. It was Mike. If you know Mike, Mike's the guy that drives the truck everywhere. It was his birthday this weekend, so we celebrated his birthday. I had a good time. It was a lot of fun. I mean, it was a little tiring because we're running around so much, and having to do math and figure out Google Sheets, all that fun stuff. But I mean, like I mentioned, we had the thing with the one player and the one we had to double yellow the 2 players. But other than that, I mean, it was fine. Even then, those weren't that big of a deal. So all in all, it was fairly successful and not too bad. Although, if we talk about Tacoma, there's probably a reason why my issue didn't seem as big as the issue with Tacoma. Tacoma was won by an orc player who was playing his rules wrong. And for those that don't know, GW handles their events a little different than what FLG handles theirs. They don't have a code of conduct, but they have a conduct page, I think it was, or ways you're supposed to carry yourself. I forget. It's only like a page long. So there were issues with the player at Tacoma, and that problem player ended up winning the event. So
it's not like this player is like a known problem, right?
he was never a problem at our events. Let me put it that way. So, but the player is banned from some events and is looked down upon. He's basically banned from a few of his local events that I know of. And a lot of people kind of give him the side eye if he's at an event. But he's been to 2 of our events, and both times nobody's. Usually, people will tell me, like usually after the fact, but people will tell me if they have an issue with him or with a player, and nobody told me anything with the player. So, but he was playing a different army when he played at our events.
Yeah, I have noticed that people cheat when they're using specific armies. I'm kidding.
I don't know.
I'll be here all week.
I don't know if. Well, I mean, it was orcs, and the player we had an issue with at LSO was playing orcs. So, but the rules were not the same. The rules they got wrong were not the same. So.
Adam says all orc players are cheaters. So you're free to send him hate mail if you wish. His email is adam.solis@tfgradio.com.
Yeah,
we've got our headline. Let's go.
Yeah,
breaking news.
So we'll see. I don't know. We'll see what happens.
Up next, TFG's preferred political candidate.
Oh my gosh. Hey, like I always tell you guys, I always vote for myself. So I write my name in every time. I get at least one vote.
If you don't believe in yourself, then
someone has.
Who else is going to believe in you, man? You got to believe in yourself.
My wife won't vote for me. That's because she knows. So with and people have asked me like what to do because, well, in particular with these players, and it depends on your comfort level with how to deal with it. I know for us and for FLG, it's like a program. It's not like boom, we're just gonna do it. It has to there needs to be a pattern,
right?
A tracked pattern, not a hearsay pattern. Because you can tell me all you want, but if it's not at the event, I mean, I'm not gonna call you a liar. But if you have an agenda against certain people,
but you ain't calling them for dinner either.
Yeah, so like people could come up and tell me, "Oh, John kept on cheating with his knights. He kept on running them through walls, saying he got a free CP or something." You know,
but I can Kool-Aid man through walls.
I know.
I can do that.
But let's say you want to run through your armigers or your brigands instead.
Oh yeah, no, I can't do that.
And you're claiming you can do that, but someone doesn't tell me until like a week later or a few days later, and I'm like, it all depends on what I know of the player, from my experience, and what if they've done it before. With both of these players, both at LSO and Tacoma, they may have this. I think this for LSO. I think it's the first time he's done it at our event. And for the Tacoma player, I don't believe he's done anything at our event, but it's starting to become a distraction from the event. So what ends up happening, and this is what happened with everyone knows, this is what happened with Avalez. You go to our events, or just go to any event, and that's all everyone talks about. Even if you don't do anything, you're just there. Before the event even starts, everyone just starts talking about that person and being at the event, and then starts talking about, instead of talking about the event itself. So that's when it becomes an issue, or people don't want to play him, and they keep on telling me, "Hey, if I get paired with this guy, I just don't want to play him." And if I keep on getting multiple people telling me that, then why bother pairing anybody if half the people aren't going to play the other half or things like that? So going forward with these two players, we'll have to see, wait and see what develops, because I don't know if both of them are going to be at Champs Cup or at SoCal Open, but both of them will probably be at LVO. So we'll see. But in any case, LSO was fun. I actually look forward to going back for Champs Cup and for next year. So I'm sure it'll be fine. Everything's fine.
Yeah.
We also got the announcement of Oh, and there was no whatchamacallit, no preview show at Tacoma.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they didn't do a preview show.
Huh. Okay.
Well, I think part of it is they're all in
No,
on
nothing to preview.
well, they're all in on AOS. So they're all in on AOS, so it's really what they're focused on with the 4.0.
Yeah, that's true.
And they are I think they only put out a few books, but they did announce Agents of the Imperium or Imperial Agents, which everyone kind of knew about.
Yeah.
They're coming out with 3 army boxes, one for each. Well, Malice, Heretic, and what's the other one? Xenos.
Xenos, yeah.
Which includes Sister of Battle, Grey Knights, and Death Watch.
Yeah.
I believe they already mentioned that Death Watch. That's it for Death Watch.
Yes. The way they wrote it was that Death Watch, basically all your units are going to be in there.
Right.
And Grey Knights, they said,
You'll get a
don't worry,
codex.
you're still getting a codex.
Yeah.
But it is interesting to know that, like, as a Grey Knights player, I now have a second option I could potentially use those units in, which is cool. I like that.
Right. Yeah. I mean, I think Bobby from our team was the only Death Watch. Oh no, we had a Jason. I think also
Jason, yeah.
played Death Watch. So we'll see what. Because I think they get a detachment, but I don't know what's going to be in that detachment. If it's just going to be regular Marines that are now Death Watch, or are they? Because remember, they used to have the special named kill teams.
Yeah.
So I don't know if they're just gonna keep those, or just maybe have one kill team and then just regular Marines and just pull from the Marine Codex. I mean, the flyers in that box, the Death Watch flyers in that box set. So
The Black Corvus or whatever.
yeah, the Corvus fighter. It's in the box set along with some Inquisitors and stuff. So we'll see. I don't know. I mean, it's a book and Death Watch in it. I don't know what happened to it, but I remember one of us chose. Remember we chose which codex was going to be the last one. I think I chose Death Watch.
Oh,
so
yeah.
I have to find.
Well,
that
you ain't
paper.
wrong.
Well, I mean, technically the Imperial Agents book would be the Death Watch book, but I think all the ones we chose are already out. I think World Eaters. I have to find out if Danny chose World Eaters, because I think we're going to closest without going over at this point. So
Yeah, I think I said Guard was going to be last.
I know Death Watch was one of them. I think Sisters was another one, and then I forget what the other two were. I had the paper and then I lost it again. So I haven't cleaned up, as you can tell by looking at my screen, because I'm still waiting to get the floor installed. So hopefully that's in the next week or two. But yeah, so we'll have to see what comes up from that. So, but so that's coming out. Hopefully, once that releases, they'll announce the new roadmap. That way, we can see what else is coming out afterwards. Because I think we're about halfway through the codexes at this point, approximately. Because none of the night books are out.
No.
Yeah, I think we're about halfway.
Cool.
So hopefully we'll by next year, this time next year, we'll have all the books out or almost all the books. That way we can maybe play a year with all the codexes instead of like 3 months.
Before 11th.
Yeah. So we'll get Emperor's Children before 11th or at 11th maybe.
Yeah.
Who knows? But
A week before.
Yeah. So with LSO behind us now, next is Champions. Well, next is Hammer Wrath for me, which is in about a month. I believe we're at 35 players. I mean, it's not bad. I'm not going to complain. I've never. Oh no, we're at 37. Uh-oh. Why so many people sign up? I mean, I mean because I do these large events, I like keeping Hammer and Battle for LA kind of small-ish, like around 40. We're doing that at the Squad Marks HQ. If you're familiar with Squad Marks, they're the ones that make the little identifier bases. They also put out terrain, so they're providing the terrain for the event and the space for the event. So
Yeah, very cool.
and
Very cool.
if you haven't been there, theirs is nice. Their store is in an office building, so it's basically just an office. And there's a hotel across the street, and there's a shopping center across the street from there. So it's not with a lot of food options. Fortunately, no PF Chang's, so I think we're okay. So, so yeah, so getting ready for that. I picked the missions that they're using for Champs Cup, so it's more of a practice for Champs Cup. I don't know what layouts they're using, so I just picked the layouts, which I think we're using 1 and 3, but I got to double check with Mason from Squad Marks, so make sure he can make those layouts. I'll probably check with them in the next day or two. But I'm looking forward to it. It's just basically a local event that we do. I did, or I don't know if it's going to get here in time, but I did order something for the event, so hopefully it'll get here in time for me to show the players. It is a golden ticket event, so the player will get the best general will get a golden ticket for the November event, the Warhammer Worlds in Atlanta this year. So, and then so we'll see. And then after that is, like we mentioned, is Champions Cup, which is the large team event. There's 63 teams right now because I think a team had to drop out. So John is playing, Danny's playing, Keith is playing. So half the team is like FLG and GW's judges and former judges. So we all get to play. I am bringing CSM. I'm sticking with the Renegade Raiders. That seems easiest for me. I'm gonna try. If you watched the stream game over the weekend, Russell Tassam played on stream. I think once he may have been on the Patreon stream, but his list looks interesting because it has Abaddon.
That was the one you posted in the Discord, right?
Yeah. So.
Yeah, that looks cool. I like it.
Abaddon and basically Chaos Lord, little rockets inside with a little 5-man squad. So we'll see how it goes. And a Hellbrute, so I got to finish building my Hellbrute that I have. But it seems cool. I mean, he kind of explained it to me, so okay. Then he realized he was playing Abaddon wrong, or his for like.
Illegal wrong or bad?
No,
wrong?
Like bad for him wrong.
Okay.
He was playing one of his abilities. One of Abaddon's abilities is when you roll your Dark Pact or Dark Ritual, whatever it's called. If you roll a 7 or better, you have to pass it, and you have to roll a 7 or better. And Abaddon is a 5+, so if you roll a 7 or better, he gains a CP. Or you gain a CP. The index version was you pass the Dark Pact, and then you have to roll again to see if you get the CP. So it's 2 rolls again, and he'll still playing that way. So sometimes, and you're gonna roll a 7 or better like almost every time if you need a 5 or better to Dark Pact. So he didn't realize until like game 4 of the weekend that he was playing it wrong the whole time. So even top players make mistakes. So he explained the list a little to me. So hopefully I can get it to work. I'm not on the same caliber he is, so I don't know. We'll see. And also I also don't have the same amount of time to play as much as he does. So But I also knew what that Abaddon's ability changed, so I don't know what that says. So I'm taking that. John, you're sticking with Chaos Knights?
Yep. Chaos Knights, probably a Lancer, probably 2 double battle cannon bros, some little guys.
So John and I played last week were at Tom's house where I was eaten to death by mosquitoes as opposed to knights. And WTC scoring, we were able to get a draw. It was a very different list of what I plan on taking with Russell Tassim's list, but like I said, it was interesting. So I don't know. And did you played the Castigator as a Lancer, right? We played, or did you play him as a Castigator? You remember?
No, I was playing Lancer. I played Lancer, double battle cannon, and then 3 carnivores, 2 what are they called? Huntsmen.
Okay. Right, but at the time you were using the Castigator model, right? Is that what it was? As the Lancer?
Yeah, I was using the Castigator model. I haven't built my Lancer yet.
So John only won because he used the illegal proxy because he did not get it approved.
True story.
Checks out.
So, and
sounds typical.
In true fashion, instead of conceding the game, he's just going to take the point deduction on his next game.
Yeah, for sure, 100%. 5 points.
And then Tom, didn't you play a game?
I played Age of Sigmar, actually.
Oh, how was that?
Oh, that's right.
Dan, for those that don't know, and Danny already cut out, so I don't know if he's coming back. Danny's been trying to get us to play Age of Sigmar 4.0 for a while. John and I have resisted.
Butters been trying to get us to play Age of Sigmar since 1.0.
Well, true, but Butters over here got suckered in. So how was it? How was it, Tom?
It's fun. I mean, Age of Sigmar. It's in some ways it's kind of simpler. In some ways it's got kind of the same complexity. I think just the new edition, it just kind of tries to streamline things more so things happen faster. I appreciated that. I thought there were some cool kind of excuse me, like unit abilities that, like, you see some things carry over from 40k to AOS. It's like, okay, they kind of have this thing going, they got that thing going, but there were some like unique things that I didn't ever remember seeing in 40k, just certain kind of mechanics or unit rules. And I like the fact that the melee engagement is bigger, but it makes sense that it is because there's more melee in AOS than not.
Right. Yeah. And it was what, dragons versus demons? I think.
Yeah, I played a giant list of horned berserk bloodthirsters with some supporting cast, and then what else? And then he played basically a bunch of dragons.
Yeah, because Danny likes his dragons.
He do.
I mean, if I were to do anything, I probably would do Spearhead. Just buy a wood box and just use those models and not get a whole army. So, but I probably won't. I say I will. Without a store anymore, I don't have that impulse buy of like.
That's true.
I'll buy a Spearhead. Although lately, I've been playing my Elite games at a local store called Geeky Tees. So, but I keep on going there.
It sells tea, and not T-shirts.
Yeah, it's teas as in tea, but I haven't seen any tea being sold or drank.
That's fine, but I don't. I thought it was the other.
Oh, like T-shirt?
Yeah. I was like, oh, they sell geeky T-shirts. That's how they started out, and now it's a game store.
No, I think it started out as like a coffee shop,
game cafe, yeah.
And then it expanded into a. I don't want to say proper game store, but essentially a proper game store. Because if you haven't been there, it's they have like 16 game tables, and then they have a separate room of like for the Magic players, and then because they're also in an office. Basically, on the first floor, there's all kinds of like, and it's like the whole floor practically. There's all kinds of little offices where you can have a lot of private rooms and stuff for private sessions. So it's really nice. It's almost like what our old store aspired could have been.
Yeah.
Sadly.
Yeah.
So it's really nice. It's a little bit of more of a drive for me, but I think it's more. I think I can still get there in like. So like to get to our old store, it was like 30 minutes, and to get to the new store, Geeky Teas, it's like 40 minutes to 45 minutes. So it's not.
That sounds about right.
It's not that big of a deal. So, I don't know if you've been. I don't think you guys have been yet. No. Danny goes there all the time now.
I tried to line up a game for Saturday, but nobody took
the bait.
Yeah.
So if you have a chance, you guys need to go.
Yeah,
They have an online presence, but it's not or online shop, but it's not very extensive. I don't think they put much into it, but they have a lot of stock in the store. So
nice,
and it's clean for the most part. At least as far as I can tell, they have cool stuff in there. And plenty of room in terms of. And the only thing is they charge to use the tables is like $5 per person, and on some days, from what I've seen, it could get pretty crowded. They don't run events, as far as I know, in terms of 40K or EOS. I think they're planning to. I don't know yet. Danny would know. But it's $5 per person, and you can reserve a table if you wanted to. Usually, if the tables are open, they'll just assign you a table, and you play. So.
Nice.
Terrain is a little limited because they have a lot of the old FLG Necron terrain, which is not the best. So, but you got to go with what you got, with whatever they got. So, and it's very organized and very sturdy, and it looks like the players actually take the time to put the terrain back. I know I did when I go.
Nice.
Yeah,
So.
I like when people,
culture.
that's a good cultural thing to have.
Yeah.
I'm glad that they do that.
Yeah. So next we have Champs Cup. Like I mentioned, it's us four, and then Jeff, if you remember the Focus Fire podcast, Derek, if you ever saw his Samurai Space Marines, which he just recently sold. Who else is on team? I forget. Trevor.
Richard Cozart and
Trevor. Richard Cozart. He's the one that he's the guard player that made top 8 with the Stormhammer? No.
Baneblade. Storm.
It's not one of the
Stormlord?
One of the Baneblade variants. He made top 8 at this past LVO. Who are we missing? I know we're missing somebody.
There's an 8th. We're missing the 8th.
Because it's us
I
four,
can't remember.
Jeff, Trevor, Cozart.
Richard. Who's the 8th?
Who is the 8th? Oh crap! Not the look.
Let's see.
I mentioned Jeff, right? Yeah, I did mention Jeff. So those that don't know, Champs Cup is basically based off
Keith.
of.
Keith is the 8th.
No, I mentioned Keith because it's me, you, Keith, and Danny, Trevor.
Carlos?
No, Carlos isn't playing. He can't get away for it. Trevor.
So in the Discord
Cozart,
is Trevor.
Jeff. Oh, Derek. Yeah, I guess I did forget Keith.
Keith is the one we
Yeah.
mentioned, yeah.
I think he's playing. I don't even think he knows what he's playing yet. I think he's.
Well, you said 4 of us, but we didn't say his name.
Oh, okay.
That's why we're messing up on the list.
I don't get paid to count. I get paid to judge. Not a math major. So those that don't know, it's the Champs Cup is essentially WTC on the West Coast, or on the Western United States, not the West Coast, because it's in Dallas. However, following the Champs Cup in October is SoCal Open, which is now another team event, but it's on the West Coast.
Cool.
Smaller amount of teams, still 8-man team event. Not sure if I'm okay with that. I think I would have preferred a 5-man so you get more teams there, but we'll see how it goes. So 8-man teams also on that one. There seems to be a lot of interest in team events in general, because I know in the East Coast, the guys that run ATC are doing a lot of 5 and 8-man team events in the East. So we're doing the Champs Cup and then SoCal Open out here in the West. I don't know about them being that close together for a team event, especially for us. It doesn't matter because San Diego's like 2 hours away. So, and I think our team bought 2 tickets by mistake because there's no coordination, but we'll see.
People were excited.
Yeah,
because it was local.
Yeah, now more people.
It's fine.
Can go.
I'm sure they can get 2 groups. I can't go.
That
that weekend is out for me, but
I'll be there. Tom, do you think you can go?
That's gonna be a negative Ghost Rider.
yeah.
I know. I'm just asking for form's sake and just to be nice to include you.
I like that. Thank you.
Although right now Tom is literally creating his own team at home.
Yes, that's true.
He's almost halfway there. Around September he'll be halfway there. Well, if you include you and your wife, you'd now have 6. So you just need 2 more.
Sure.
And
That's
you're set.
true. That is true.
So look for Team Malone in about 15 years.
We're gonna take 40K 8th edition by storm, baby.
So it should be fine. And then after SoCal Open is when I really gear up for LVO. So as far as I know, there's still. I think there's still ticket available. I think Kicker open tickets up. So still time to get tickets, John.
Yeah, I'll get one. Don't worry. I'm going. I already asked for the days off, but I haven't bought the ticket yet. One thing at a time. I got to get through Champions Cup first. And I'll figure it out.
One thing at a time. So yeah. So then LVO, then it starts all over again. So. Mm-hmm. So this year's LVO looks to be, see, they never tell me how many tickets they sold. They never tell me. I don't think they even told you. They never told us, huh, John? They just say, we sold. They just have a they say 2,000 however many. I don't know. I don't know how many tickets they sell. So, but
I don't know.
They just tell us.
We know the number of players we can have. So we know.
Yeah, I think 40K is in the same hall. I think the exhibitor hall is going to be in a larger venue, in a larger room, so there should be more exhibitors there. And I know Kicker is working on getting other non-tabletop games there, so we'll see what he can get to go. I should ask him about that, but yeah. So excited to finally play in an event next month. I just got a lockdown, or wait. Not next month, in 2 months. And then I just got lists are due at the end of August, so hopefully I can get the list locked down by then. It shouldn't be fine. But I think that's it. I don't know if there's anything else going on right now. We'll probably get a meta watch after this since we just had Tacoma.
Probably, right? Yeah.
It'll probably be everything's fine. It'll be
the
wow.
meta seems fine.
It'll be wow. Orcs won Tacoma. Great.
But the meta does seem fine.
Yeah, if you watch Stat Check or you read the Meta Monday article website, then there's more there's different armies winning each event. So
yeah, the meta seems relatively healthy. Which is the reason why I'm interested in playing again.
I thought you were interested because you could Kool-Aid Man through walls now.
No. I was interested in playing again as soon as 10.5 came out.
Yeah, because you could Kool-Aid Man.
No. I didn't even realize I could do that for like a couple weeks. I had become so disillusioned with Knights.
Oh.
No, disillusioned with Knights that I didn't even bother to look them up in 10.5. You guys had to tell me. I was like, I can do what? Well, I want to play Knights now. So.
There you go.
Yeah. That's the way it goes.
I'm trying to think of anything else. I talked about the pivot being like no effect. I'm trying to think of anything else of those LSOs. Really, I'm not gonna say it was smooth sailing, but I mean compared to past events in the past and past LSOs and just past events in general, it wasn't that bad. I mean, overall, I give it a solid B.
Nice. B's good grade.
Yeah,
Above average.
it was above average, but not the
Yeah.
not the best event. But you know, there's always like small hiccups that need to be dealt with, and all that good stuff. So, but again, like I said, I enjoyed it. Looking forward to going back. That was a lot of fun. And we'll see if it grows bigger. I mean, I'm going to have to get more people if it gets any bigger. So we'll see. But I think that's it for tonight. Danny didn't come back. Danny's lost to us in the warp.
Yeah,
So-
since he reset his router and everything, it didn't work.
Oh, okay, perfect.
Oh man.
So we'll call it here. Nice short 1 hour show. Tom, since you were very talkative today, any last words of wisdom?
Don't insta-buy the Death Watch Agent's Codex if it seems super overpowered at first.
It's not going to be super powered. Trust me. An army full of just scrubs slapped together for an Inquisitor.
Yeah. No.
It's not going to be super powered. It's not, and Death Watch is not going to be what it once was. So we'll see.
No,
somebody
cannot.
really hates Death Watch. That's all we know. John,
Yeah.
any words of wisdom now that you're reborn? John reborn in 10.5 with his knights.
Yeah. Friends don't let friends buy Inquisitor Coteos.
Ooh.
I don't know why everybody was all upset about the Eagle. The Eagle's not the problem with that
The whole
model.
thing's a problem. I mean, the Eagle's not great, but like, yeah, the Wallace and Gromit memes are great.
Oh, I haven't even seen those. That's
Oh.
hilarious.
Yeah,
I haven't, but I immediately know what those look like.
Yeah.
Based on
Yeah.
the fact that you said that.
yeah, it's great. They're great.
Oh my
Love
god.
them. I love everything about the memes. It's fantastic.
Well, thank you everybody for listening and watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you're watching on YouTube. It just helps the algorithm, all that other good stuff. I do sometimes put up shorts and other things. If you're going to a FLG event, I've been starting to put up little reminders before the event for people, so make sure you subscribe to get those reminders. And then whatever else catches my fancy. Usually I put up stuff about the weekend of the event, just little shorts and whatever. But it's usually there'll be something there. I'm still doing the Pod Save the Imperium thing, re-uploading those because we're doing the show this week. The next one will be probably next week, and I haven't looked at the schedule to see which one it is, but that'll be up next week, and hopefully people will enjoy that too. But I think that's it for tonight. Good night, and have a pleasant tomorrow.
All right.
Bye-bye.
Yeah.